Durbania, I'm Durbin, and this is my spoiler-free review for Independence Day Resurgence. It was good. Like, I don't feel like I went into this movie and came out super disappointed with it or anything, but, I don't know, it was kind of weird, because I feel like half this movie was super fun and really good, whereas the other half of this movie was, I don't know, it didn't quite hit the nail on the head. It didn't reach the full potential. Like, I want to say it fell flat in some places, but I feel like saying it fell flat in some places is selling it a little short. I mean, it still did good. I mean, I guess the places where it really kind of fell flat for me is where it tried to strike the same chords the first movie hit. I mean, like, the arrival of the enemy ship. Now, honestly, of course it's going to be far more intense in the first Independence Day. Because that's the first Independence Day. That's first contact. That's the first time we're seeing all this. And it's creepy and it's awesome. What do you do in a world 20 years later where that's history? Where they all know about these aliens? Where this is something that has already happened? And it wasn't a whole fleet of alien ships. I mean, you kind of get the idea in the trailer. It's the one big, huge mothership that is like a third the size of the Earth. The thing is huge. So, like, on the one hand, its arrival was cool because of how big the ship was. So to me, that was like an A+ right there. Like, watching the size of that ship, watching it enter the atmosphere, all that stuff was really cool. But I guess the part that wasn't the A+, the part that didn't quite strike the chord right for me was it didn't come with the same intensity as the first movie did, where you're like, what's going on? Yeah, I know. We already know about these aliens. I guess I don't know what else to expect out of that, but it's still one of those things where it's like, I mean, it's different. It's a different kind of ship. It's got a different kind of technology, and they make all kinds of big deals about that. So I still feel like it could have been a little bit more intense, but whatever. Honestly, it was still really fun. And then the other places where I feel like it didn't quite strike the chord right for me, it's not that it didn't strike the chord, it just didn't play the note just right. For instance, they depend a lot on you seeing the first movie. So whenever you're introduced to a character from Independence Day, whether it be President Whitmore or David Levinson or any of those original cast members, they don't really establish them again. They don't give you a reintroduction. They don't even give you too much time to really, like, reconnect. They're kind of just depending on you already having the connection to them, which in some ways that helps because it kind of helps you jump right into things, which is really cool. And there's a lot of new characters to introduce, and they did a good job with all the new stuff. Did a good job introducing us to Liam Hemsworth's character. I forget his character's name, so maybe I wasn't as connected as I thought. But then, you know, Captain Stephen Hiller's son, like, it was really cool to meet Dylan as an adult, President Whitmore's daughter as an adult. Like, meeting these people and learning who they are, who they've grown up to become, and things like that, that was really cool. They did establish some good relationships there, and they really helped you get to know those characters so you cared about them with whatever they were going through. And there was a lot of cool stuff that they did. But then, like, even when the aliens and the humans are fighting and all that stuff, it's interesting because it felt like the first half of this movie was kind of in a hurry to get somewhere. And then the middle of the movie gets so climactic, it's like, oh, are we there already? Is it over? Oh, I guess it's over. Oh, okay. Yeah, I guess I should have seen that coming. It's not over, but it was just kind of weird the way it did it. It was a little awkward. Okay, so now that I've kind of said my negatives and I kind of said my negative gripes, let me get into the positives. It is a fun summer blockbuster movie. If you liked Independence Day, there's no reason you wouldn't like this one. I don't think it's as good as Independence Day. I don't. But it was just as fun in so many ways because there's a lot of good nostalgia to it. It's really fun seeing David Levinson again. It's fun seeing his dad again, who wrote a book called How I Saved the World, because, you know, he came up with the idea. He said to David, get off the floor before you catch cold. Like, that was hilarious. Dr. Okun, the way they explained that he was still alive, and then when they brought him back into the movie, there was an immediate connection to Dr. Okun. And I thought he was not only hysterical and hilarious and the best comedic relief I've seen in a long time in an action film, he was just an awesome character in this movie. Like, he was fun in Independence Day. He was awesome in this. So where other characters like President Whitmore and things like that weren't as cool, other characters like Dr. Okun became really cool and they kind of shine. That's not to say President Whitmore isn't cool. He does some cool things in this movie, but I don't know. How do you top that speech he gave in Independence Day? And they tried in this movie to top that speech. They did not. So I guess when you go to see Independence Day Resurgence, and it's worth seeing. And it's definitely worth seeing on the big screen. You just have to go into this with the right expectations. I mean, it's not brilliant. It's not super deep, but it's fun. And that's what you gotta go. It's a ride. You have to go into this movie knowing it's a ride, expecting it to be a ride, not expecting too much from it. And I'm not gonna spoil anything with this statement, don't worry. This movie positions itself for a third one, and I want to see that third one. I think the third one, the way it's positioned, could be far more interesting than the first one and the second one. So that was something else that I thought was really cool. They positioned themselves well to do another movie. So I really hope this movie does good in the box office because I want to see that third one. So in the end, I'm going to give this movie 3.5 out of 5 stars. Because, yeah, it's not my favorite. The first Independence Day, I really did enjoy a lot more, but that's also because it's the first one. But it's still a really fun movie. I'm still going to buy it on Blu-ray. And I hope they make a third one because I want to see that movie. So that's my spoiler-free review for Independence Day Resurgence. Got a spoiler talk coming this weekend. If you notice, I got this, like, I don't know if I'm tan or burned. I don't know. I hope it's more tan than burned. It's because we have a big family reunion going on. So one of my brother-in-laws is going to be joining me for that spoiler talk. And he is actually Human 2.7, the music that you hear behind me and the music you hear in the, outro as we're ending the videos. Yeah, he made that music. So it's going to be really cool to bring in my brother-in-law, Human 2.7. We're going to be spoiler talking Independence Day Resurgence. It's going to be a good time. So make sure, you're here to check that out. Subscribe so you don't miss cool stuff like that. I'm Durbin. Thanks for checking out Durbania.